Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some news over here where Microsoft is now forcing Xbox users to now essentially have to go and kind of bend to their will, that crazy Microsoft, that Bill Gates, that guy. But when it comes to stuff, we actually have a news when it comes to Microsoft where they're now forcing Xbox users to kind of have to go and change into specific modes that basically Xbox is making people have to force go use into. Now, I'll be kind of curious to see what you guys think as we kind of go throughout this video and explain why, kind of my takes and why they might be expecting to do it. At the end of the day, though, I'm not really a big fan of most forced or very, very subtly implied type features that some companies like to go pull people out on. But as well, some people might be on the opposite side, so we're going to talk about this, a little bit of a controversial thing too as well, because I did see a few people also kind of have that mixed opinion when it comes to Reddit and tweets and all that stuff. So we're going to talk about some kind of weird Xbox update rolling out now. And as well, if you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We also do have the Xbox as well. Just the whole link down below. We also do have the brand new Samsung deals with the $100 off. We have the Target links or the Amazon links and all that type of good stuff too. So you guys want to go check that stuff on out. Let's go and dive into this kind of weird and strange Microsoft update. So as I mentioned, sometimes we have these big tech companies that kind of force you to go do certain things, whether it's for better or for worse. You always have the two sides where some people are like, yo, if it's good for the environment or good for my console, I'm kind of all for it. Or some people are like, hey, I spend money on this. This is how I spend my bills, my electric bill or whatever it might be. Let's not. So if you guys want to give your thoughts and comments down below, feel free to. But with this new Xbox update, Microsoft is to force Xbox consoles into energy saver mode as it rolls out smarter options. The one-time switch will improve the energy usage, and the Xbox Series X and S users can switch back to standby if needed. New active hours will offer a balance between both settings. So just off the initial first impressions of this one, it doesn't seem too bad, and I'm always one of those folks where if you give me options, I can kind of decide what's best for myself. So basically for this one, Microsoft is planning to switch Xbox Series X and S owners over to an energy-saving power mode in a bid for sustainability and cost savings. The shutdown energy-saving power option was made default on Xbox consoles shipped since last March, but millions of Xbox One and Xbox Series X and X console owners still use the more convenient sleep or instant on option. Microsoft is now planning to issue a one-time update that will switch the Xbox Series X and S consoles over to shutdown energy saving with the option to switch back to sleep instant on. There's also new active hour settings that will will offer the convenience of instant on and some energy savings. More on that later. So at least from the very bare bones on this, as you guys kind of know, sometimes consoles are kind of in a 90% motion, where if you it's kind of like a PC on standby mode. It's still using power to run. It's still kind of subtly running in the background. But let's go and say you press the up key or something like that to kind of go and switch to whatever. You're maybe going up and down on a page. Then your computer can basically instantly respond to it, and then it kind of bumps from a 9 to a 100. But even if you're on that nice little standby mode and you're not using as much power as you normally would, you are still using power. And I think that's what kind of Xbox/Microsoft is trying to address. So the difference between the Xbox power options is significant when it comes to energy usage. The sleep option lets you instantly boot an Xbox Series X and S console, but it does use around 10 to 15 watts while in standby. If you pick the shutdown power option, it takes around 15 seconds to boot up a console, but then at that same point, it will only use 0.5 watts while it's turned off. So as I mentioned, they're kind of trying to go and push this more of saving the world, sustainability options, etc., etc. Now, I'm one of those people, I'm kind of these are one of those things I'm not too heated on. If it takes me an extra few seconds as I'm gaming, I don't think that's the end of the world, but as well at the same time, I'm kind of one of those lazy consumers where I do kind of like the instant on. It's like a feature at this day and age. We're almost kind of expecting that. So it's kind of like a toss-up. Some people are like, yeah, I don't mind. It takes 10 seconds of my day. It can help the environment. Some folks are like, well, no, I just want to let me get the perks. I paid the money. I want to make sure it's always on. I don't mind paying the electricity costs, all that type of stuff. So that's why I'm kind of saying it's kind of torn. Let me know your take on it. For every 2 consoles that switch to shutdown in the energy-saving mode for 1 year, we will save the equivalent amount of carbon removed by 1 tree planted and grown for a decade, as Microsoft's trying to push this big sustainability model. So The Verge previously highlighted this gap in Xbox energy usage in September. that advisors readers to switch due to rising energy costs in the UK and across Europe. Now, Microsoft is taking action to push Xbox users into using less energy, and Xbox insiders will make an update today that will switch Xbox Series X and S consoles over to the shutdown option. And the same update will roll over to a more broadly, like basically clickable group very soon. This one-time update to your power settings will reduce your power consumption while your console is off. It will not affect performance, gameplay, or your console's ability to receive overnight updates to system, games, or apps, explained Blaine Haguli, the technical program manager at Xbox, in a blog post. Remote features are supported while the console is powered on. However, remote wake is not supported while that console is shut down. So the big idea is they're basically trying to go do like a one-time big update to make it so you can kind of go more in these like energy saving modes. I think the idea of active hours, which we'll get to in a second, is kind of cool. So let's say for me, like I will never touch a console, I will never touch anything for me because I'm usually doing work stuff throughout the day. So from any time from let's say like 4 a.m. to around let's say at least 3 p.m. on most days, I'm probably not touching my console. I'm busy, I'm doing stuff, I'm being proactive or whatever it might be. And I think for something like that, that makes sense. Like, I'm 100% for a fact not going to use it. Or at least I know for a fact at 6 a.m. every single day for the past 3 years, I have not once came close to touching my console. But when it comes to other things too, it's kind of weird because it is kind of Microsoft kind of assuming what's better for everyone else. And I'm not really a big fan of that too when it comes to console makers, although this is not like a hill I would die on. I'd be like, yeah, whatever, you're saving energy. I think at the end of the day, good. Like, I'm cool with it. I'm down with it. I got no kind of big issues with it. So Xbox One users will also start to see the new power options as well very soon, including the shutdown energy saving for some users today. Shutdown energy saving will allow Xbox One consoles to receive game, or app downloads overnight, just like the Xbox Series X and S, writes Hogley. With shutdown energy savings selected, Xbox One consoles will experience a slower boot time. Remote features are still supported while the console is powered on. So like we're seeing all this type of stuff too, like it's still being active, it's still ongoing, and I don't think it's like the biggest change. Like someone removing, let's say, old consoles, that's a big change. Someone is doing this to kind of save you their power, and you also would still be saving money at the end of the day. That's not as bad. If you prefer the instant boot that the sleep mode offers, Microsoft also has a new solution on the way that will provide a balance of energy savings and convenience. A new active hours setting will be available for Xbox insiders today. This will let you adjust to your console's active hours so that an Xbox will boot quickly and be available for remote wake during the selected hours. But outside of those hours, it will fully shut down and only draw 0.5 watts instead of between the 10 to 15 watts that it would normally be drawing. The Xbox Series X and S active hours will be automatically enabled and scheduled based on times when the console was previously used, says Hogil. Like, it's just kind of weird because I feel like it's not the world's worst idea. Like, you basically get to save some energy, you have less consoles basically idling, you can still get updates, or as well, like the nice workaround is that you can maybe make it where it's just active hours. Like, on the surface level, I think it's cool. I just like maybe I'm like one of those contrarian type people. You guys can maybe say if I'm being kind of crazy or whatever. I'm just not really a big fan of companies kind of either forcing this type of stuff or trying to be like, well, that we kind of know better for you. Now, they are the people who are making the console, so I do trust their judgments a lot. It just kind of seems really almost kind of somewhat strange. More so because we have so much more energy, like kind of usage from Microsoft that's going completely out of the water anyway, so it's almost kind of hypocritical and weird for them to kind of push on like the normal consumer. I don't know, like I'm one of those types of people where it's just like, how about the big businesses kind of step up first before having to make normal people have to step up? But that's kind of like a random kind of crazy rant in this one because this doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I do think the active workaround kind of seems kind of nice. I mean, that does seem good, like I mentioned before. I'm someone who's not going to be using my console at like 5 in the morning. It's totally fine. But as well, I think if also that kind of goes and passes those savings to consumers and basically uses less energy, and overall it might be better for the overall ecosystem of the world, I think it'd be very, very nice. I just, like I said, I'm one of those big people where like there's a lot more bigger things to go and tackle than someone casually using their console when they get off of work just to hang out and chill or have it up in the background. Because I mean, 10 watts, it's really not much in the grand scheme of things in terms of savings, in terms of energy usage, etc. Though I will go and say over time and everyone all collective, yes, obviously that does go and add up, or throughout the next 15, 20, 50 years, sure. But it's just a little bit of a strange update for me. But as well, It's not changed stuff too much. It's not that bad at the end of the day, and that's why I'm kind of curious on your thoughts, because there was some decent feedback and kind of pushback for folks on Twitter and Reddit when it came to stuff. So Microsoft says that Xbox is now the first carbon-aware console, which I think is cool to focus on the future of the world. Thanks to these updates, allowing Xbox consoles to wake up at a time where it can be renewable energy from a local energy grid. Windows 11 also offers a similar carbon-aware feature, and both will save you money and create fewer CO2 emissions. I mean, at the end of the day, if it actually is saving money, it's not too much of a headache. I'm all for it. I'm cool with it. But like I said, it's just kind of weird that they want to force that a little bit. But that's kind of why we make videos, because I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Check on the Samsung links down below for the $100 pre-order. Twitter and Twitch stream down below, and Target and Amazon and Webull stuff too. I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place.